Let me begin by wishing us all a better year ahead in which we see positive, inspiring solutions regarding the pandemic, the economic crisis and political chaos. Shalom means peace, and all people in the world should set aside their differences and cooperate and work together in a true spirit of teamwork. We begin with a message from Prime Minister Netanyahu congratulating President Biden. And we are honoured also to have Israel's lead attorney in the Court of Public Opinion and the world-famous legal scholar and author Alan Dershowitz joining us yet again. He's recognised as one of the most distinguished defenders of individual rights and the best-known criminal attorney in the world. We also will be joined by Marc Goldman, who will share his thoughts at this unprecedented time in history following these messages.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Congratulations, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, on your historic inauguration. President Biden, you and I have had a warm personal friendship going back many decades. I look forward to working with you to further strengthen the U.S.-Israel alliance, to continue expanding peace between Israel and the Arab world, and to confront common challenges, chief among them the threat posed by Iran. I wish you the greatest success. God bless the United States of America. God bless Israel.
With us now again is Alan Dershowitz. Alan, it's such a pleasure and honor to have you back on the show.
It's my honor and pleasure to be on your wonderful show.
We just heard from Prime Minister Netanyahu, who just congratulated President Biden. And here we are beginning a new year, and all we can do is hope that all good people in the world, in this country and elsewhere, will just embrace this new year and work together to resolve problems. What's your thoughts with regard to this?
I don't think hope is enough. We have to work in the direction of uniting us. I was very pleased by President Biden's inaugural address, talking about bringing people together. I'm very pleased that Prime Minister Netanyahu has congratulated him. I know they know each other well. I was in Israel once when Biden was there, and he went and had dinner with Netanyahu, and I saw him shortly thereafter. And I know that Biden has enormous respect for Netanyahu. They may disagree about some policies regarding Iran and the West Bank, but I think they generally agree that Israel's security is essential to the security of the United States.
Well, this is the Shalom Show, and obviously we focus on particular interests, whereas you and I obviously care about all life on earth and the environment and all good people and all people, in fact. But this is the Shalom Show, and there's some concern that some individuals who actually incredibly astonishingly oppose the peace agreements, could try to undo it. What are your thoughts with regard to that possibility?
Oh, there's no question. There are always naysayers. There used to be many more naysayers, including the Gulf countries and the Emirates. And now, of course, they won't be naysayers. They have normalized with Israel thanks to the Abraham Accords, but there'll still be naysayers, including some within the administration. I'm very pleased that Tony Blinken is the Secretary of State. I think he has a deep respect for Israel and a place in his heart for Israel. I am concerned about Wendy Sherman, who is the Undersecretary of State. She was the one who negotiated the terrible Iran deal with a very short time frame and no deep inspections and no concern for the spread of terrorism or the delivery or creation of missiles capable of carrying nuclear weapons. I know that Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, said in front of the Senate the other day that they won't go back to the deal unless it's longer and stronger. It has to be longer. It has to go for at least 25 years. It has to be stronger. It has to provide for real inspections, and equally important, it has to prevent them from developing missiles capable of reaching Tel Aviv or Rome or Germany or conceivably the United States. And it also has to stop giving Iran money, which they use to support terrorism and destabilization around the world. I mean, one of the reasons that Israel has been normalized with some of the Gulf states is they have a common enemy, Iran. Iran is very, very much of a threat to the Saudi Arabians, to the Qataris, to the Kuwaitis, to the Emirates, and to the Bahrainis. So I think that to the extent that the United States is less tough on Iran, many of these countries will become even closer to Israel because they realize that Israel is the best shield and the best sword, the best protector against Iran developing nuclear weapons, because Israel will never allow Iran to develop a nuclear arsenal, no matter what it takes, no matter how much sacrifice of treasure and blood and life. They will have to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear armed state.
All of these are matters of great concern. But again, back to the historic moving of the embassy to Jerusalem, finally, after so many administrations promised they would do so and none did. So with regard to the incomprehensible, mindless controversy surrounding the indisputable major achievement of new peace in the Middle East, is it conceivable for anyone who opposes peace and progress to actually undo these major achievements?
They can be, but they won't be. I'm sure. I've known Joe Biden for 40 years. I first worked with him with Senator Ted Kennedy. He was very close to Senator Kennedy. I was very close to Senator Kennedy. And I've discussed Israel with him. I discussed Soviet Jewry with him back in the 1980s. I think he has a very, very warm place in his heart for Jews and for Israel. I think Jerusalem will remain the eternal capital of Israel. I think the Golan will remain part of Israel unless a voluntary deal is made with Syria with some demilitarization. I don't see that coming in the even near or even middle range future. Who knows what the long-term future will be. And I think the executive order, which I worked on and was at the White House when it was signed, will endure. So I think a great many of the accomplishments of the Trump administration with regard to Israel, which I was privileged to work on with the president and the president's team, will remain in place. And I offer my services to President Biden. I will continue to work with President Biden if he wants my help on these Middle East issues. President Biden knows that I'm very close to Prime Minister Netanyahu. We have a long friendship that goes back more than 40 years. And I will continue to confer with the Prime Minister. And if I can serve as a channel of communication between this administration and the Prime Minister, it would be my honor and my privilege to do that.
Well, we all wish the new administration the very, very best, and we have great hope for the future. And I need to get personal for a moment. And here on my desk again is one of your books. And I know you're very prolific. You've written so many. Are you working on anything new right now, Alan?
Yes, I'm working on my 46th book about the challenges to freedom of speech, particularly from private internet social media companies. I think that we're seeing Facebook and Twitter and YouTube pose great barriers to the marketplace of ideas. It's so complicated because they too have First Amendment rights, and the government can't tell them what to do or what to publish or what to have on their platform. But the spirit and the culture of freedom of speech is being compromised when they take down President Trump's tweets or Facebook. And I would hope that in the next administration, we will see more openness in the media to accept various points of view. As President Biden said in his inauguration, we have to start listening to each other. We have to start talking to each other. And the way we talk and listen today is through social media. So the social media has to cooperate. If you don't like what somebody is saying, don't take it down, just answer it.
I wonder what George Orwell and Aldous Huxley would feel if they saw the reality of our world today and the kind of lies by omission and so forth. And you've been subjected to much of that yourself, actually.
Oh, right. And the guy who is laughing from his grave, of course, is Joe McCarthy. He's saying, I never imagined that the left would adopt my way of approaching speech and censorship and cancel culture. What's happening today at American universities is nothing short of modern day left-wing McCarthyism. The idea of trying to disbar Rudy Giuliani because they didn't like the way he presented the president's case in court, the idea that we're trying to rescind degrees from Harvard students because they work for the Trump administration. I've offered to represent, free of charge, pro bono, any Harvard graduate who has his or her degree rescinded on political grounds. I will also help Rudy Giuliani. Do I like everything he has ever said? No, he and I have been on opposite sides of issues since 1973. But I certainly defend his right to be a lawyer and to be a zealous advocate for his client. So I'm worried. It's not only 1984, it's McCarthyism, and it's some of the worst elements of some of our darkest periods are being repeated today by the hard left. And I worry for the Democratic Party. I worry for democracy. I'm going to remain within the Democratic Party as long as I can have some influence in trying to marginalize the squad, marginalize the censors, marginalize those who would demonize Israel. There are too many of them, and I worry that they are moving more toward the center of the party, not the center politically. They still remain extreme.
Alan, you are described as a hero who unwaveringly, adamantly stands his ground for what is right, despite reprehensible treachery, criticism, and unconscionable baseless vilification, devoid of any merit whatsoever. In a world of so many blatantly pandering hypocrites, where do you find your strength and ability to stand for what you believe in and what is right?
Well, I fight back. I'll give you an example. For 25 years, I've been the second most popular speaker at the 92nd Street Y, only after Elie Wiesel. And the 92nd Street Y has canceled me, even though they said they know that the accusation against me was totally false and made up. They've seen the emails in which the woman admits she never met me, never heard of me. Her lawyer admits on tape she couldn't have done it. She was wrong, simply wrong. But the 92nd Street Y still canceled me. They wouldn't allow me to speak about Israel and in defense of Israel. A prominent high school in New York canceled me, Jewish high school. I was scheduled to speak to their students and advise them how to deal with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism on college campuses. And the principal of the school called me and said, sorry, we can't have you. It's going to cause too much trouble with our alumni.
Again, I would like to reflect on the very, very strange time in history we are all experiencing. And I'm thinking, as we begin this new year, 2021, we should all get together and support each other and cooperate with the new government and new individuals and hope for intelligent solutions to be implemented, not only in the United States, but worldwide. Give me a message with regard to your thoughts on that.
Well, I've always supported whoever the president is. I do the same thing, whoever the prime minister of Israel is. Give them the benefit of the doubt. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote for them. I might vote against them, but while they're president, they're everybody's president. And, there's a Jewish concept called Dine Malchut Dine. The law of the land is our law. We obey it. We're patriots. We support our government. We support our people. There's a Jewish prayer where we pray for the health and welfare of the president, no matter who the president is, whether we voted for them or didn't vote for them. So I urge every American, whether you voted for or against President Biden, give him a break, give him the benefit of the doubt, help him try to heal the country, try to bring us together. You'll have time to vote one way or the other in 2 years and in 4 years. But in the meantime, let's try to work together to unite the country and heal the divisions that have been so dangerous to the welfare of our country. So my message is be patriotic, and being patriotic means, do what's best for America and not what's best for your political party or what's best for your candidate.
An absolutely essential point of view, as always. Alan, a real honor and pleasure. I want to thank you for being with us. We need to do this again sometime soon.
Anytime. I love being on your show. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With us now again is Marc Goldman. Marc, it's really great to have you back on the show, and a new year and new things happening in the world. And we just heard from Prime Minister Netanyahu congratulating President Biden, and comments by Alan Dershowitz. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts are a deep concern about what is being thought of with regards to the Iran deal, because what we have seen is all of the people who were involved in putting the Iran deal together, and they're all back and seemingly speaking of it in a positive way again. And the problem I have with it is most people don't quite realize how dangerous that deal was. And I think we have to put it in a perspective that unfortunately we can't even relate to. So consider this. The people who flew airplanes filled with people into buildings filled with people on September 11th were brought up to believe that doing that was the right thing to do. And they believed that they were doing the right thing, even though we're completely horrified by the concept even. The Iranian belief is that they are supposed to bring about their Messiah, and in order to do that, according to their teachings, they have to blow up the world. And so there's no other reason for Iran to want a nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb. Nobody is threatening them. There is no other issue. So their only purpose, and here we had Obama and Biden and all of the people who Biden is bringing back in, make that deal.
Marc, sorry to interrupt, but you're not suggesting that people in the new administration actually favor Iran getting a nuclear weapon in 10 years?
Well, the deal that they signed with them before President Trump undid it was going to allow them to do that. I don't remember if it was 10 years or 12 years, but it was short term. And what I just told you about the Iranian belief system is not a secret. That is known. I mean, you could look it up on Wikipedia. That's how known it is. So to even discuss with people who believe that, to be able to get to producing nuclear weapons is an incomprehensible concept.
As we congratulate President Biden and honor the office of the president, regardless of whether everyone likes this candidate or that, we have to all come together as a people. And my question is, some are expressing concern that the achievements in the last 4 years, such as they relate to Israel, moving the embassy, the Golan Heights, the executive order and so forth with regard to anti-Semitism, that some people who oppose these achievements could actually find a way to undo them. Do you think that's a real possibility?
I wouldn't underestimate anything that some of these people have done and would do if they were given the opportunity, but I can't speak for or think what they may or may not be doing. The thing is that some of the actions I've seen so quickly are endangering the whole world. The idea of the stopping drilling, the idea of stopping the pipeline, which was going to bring something close to 1 million barrels of oil a day from Canada in the safest way possible, better than rail cars or trucks, and all those other things, put more power into the hands of those who are against us. And so I don't understand the purpose of that, because that is counter to America. And all we're going to see is higher gasoline prices and be more at the mercy of those who oppose us.
How do you see the argument made by the new administration that defends these actions?
If I heard an argument that I thought made any sense at all, I would be happy to hear it. I have not heard anything that I can even jump to finding out what sense it makes. In the same way that I don't understand how letting all the criminals out of jail or releasing all the people who are held in custody at the border and stopping to build the wall, I don't understand how any of that makes sense. I think that it's very simple. People close the door of their house not because they hate the people on the outside, but they love and they want to protect the people inside. And so the border of America is our home. We want to know who's coming into our home. When the world is such that everyone can leave their front doors open and not worry about who's going to come in, that'll be a wonderful thing. And if all those who are in favor of the policy of allowing the borders to be open, they want to leave their doors open, see how long they have their house, I mean, let's experiment with that. But you put the whole country at risk, and especially with a thing like this pandemic going on. An enemy could send in millions of people with whatever variant of this disease and spread it throughout the country. And yet you can't even get on an airplane unless you show you're tested.
These are all very important and interesting points, Marc. And coming to mind is the thought and the word unity, and the promise of bringing America back together again, where people will resolve differences and cooperate. And of course, this requires goodwill and also faith in each other and in what this country represents. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if we could find unity, I think that would be a wonderful thing, because the world, the freedom in the world depends on America. And unified America, believing in the freedom that we have been so responsible for, whether it was during the whole Cold War, during World War II, and prior to that, America was the one who made a difference, and we were unified in recognizing the danger to our democracy. Today, the divisiveness that seems to be purposefully put into place in this country, racial divisions, economic divisions, and other divisions are, I think, counter to unity. And to see actions that would bring unity, bring that mindset together would be a wonderful thing. But words are words, actions are what count.
Actions speak louder than words, of course. And as we conclude this interview, Marc, give us a final positive message, if you can, from your perspective.
Well, I think, again, that one nation under God is the way we're going to go, and we are under God. And when we recognize that and recognize that that's the belief, then we will move forward in the right way.
Wishing us all the very best. Thank you so much again, Marc.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Life Extension magazine brings you new discoveries in health and anti-aging. Our science-based research and supplements are so advanced they're many years ahead of the medical mainstream, with quality control standards that exceed FDA mandates. Life Extension has covered groundbreaking medical research for more than 35 years. For your health and future, you deserve the best. Learn more at lifeextension.com.
This concludes our special show for today, wishing us all a happy and healthy year ahead. Thank you for being with us.